St. George's Secondary School is well known for its achievements in academic and co-curricular activities. It produced the national champions in 2016. Its vision is to be a center of quality education. Precious Blood Secondary School, Riruta. Commitment to providing holistic education to all students. Discover students' individual talents and nurture it to its fullest. Spur students to perform better than their best. Expose students to broad spectrum of leadership opportunities. Engage in participating teaching and learning processes.
Welcome to the Great Debaters Contest, the show that always tests your wits. This is the Nairobi edition, and I am Austin Nyambok.
I am Mariam Bishar, and today we have a battle of ladies as two formidable teams go up against each other, St. George's Girls and Precious Blood. And they're talking about whether retirement age should be lowered to 50 to curb the unemployment rate. We'll let the debaters take the stage and blow our minds now. Proposal number 1. You have 3 minutes.
Unemployment is a menace that is facing Kenya today. As you can see, most of the people who are unemployed are the youth, who constitute of 67% of the population in Kenya. 40% of this youth are unemployed. The government of Kenya employed 17 policies to help curb the problem of unemployment. These policies include Kazi kwa Vijana and Uwezo Youth and Women Fund. Over the time, these policies were seen not to reduce the rates of unemployment. Insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting different results. Parents tell their children, work hard in school so that you may get a better job. But where are these jobs? This is why I stand here strongly, proposing the motion that the retirement age should be reduced to 50 to curb the problem of unemployment. When we reduce this retirement age to 50, most of the people who leave the country to go to outside countries go there to seek job employment. When we reduce this retirement age, it will reduce the brain drain. As we see, most of the people who leave are usually the youth, and the youth consist of the brightest minds in Kenya. When these bright minds remain in Kenya because the retirement age was lowered to 50, the brain drain will be reduced. The US Embassy in Kenya released a report on January 18th, 2017, saying that the number of intelligent brains leaving the country each year keeps on increasing and increasing. They stated that 4 out of 10 of the Kenyan youth leave the country each year going to the US to seek employment. The youth are the most productive segment of society. If the youth leave, who will develop our country, Kenya? This is why I propose that we should reduce the retirement age so that these people who leave to go and seek employment elsewhere will remain in the country and will develop Kenya. To succeed in dealing with unemployment in Kenya, the Kenyan government has to look into skilling and reskilling the youth. When they skill and reskill the youth, this youth will be able to develop the country, Kenya. The Digital Divide Data carried out a study where they practiced skilling and reskilling, and the results were positive. It showed that when they skilled and reskilled the youth, their unemployment rates were reduced. This is why the government should employ skilling and reskilling. When we reduce the retirement age to 50, these people who retire at 50 will come back and educate the youth. They will give them the skills to help them develop the country. Here we are killing 2 birds with 1 stone, whereby we will decrease the rate of unemployment and we will give the youth skills to develop the country. With these many points, I think that we should reduce the age of retirement so that people can get jobs. Thank you.
St. George's, you have 3 minutes to give your opening statements.
3 things on my mind right now. For 1, my name, Glorin Kerubo. 2, the motion, retirement age should be lowered to 50 to curb unemployment. And 3, fish. Yes, fish. I know that most of you are wondering why I chose fish. This is because my 3rd point is as irrelevant as those of my proposer's side. For 1, art is termed unique if it is done by the original artisan. An interesting fact is, in June 2013, the Zambian government proposed an increase in the retirement age from the original 50 to 65 years, stating that 50 was such a young age for retirement, and this led to the wastage of experienced human resource. Let's have a little flashback, my dear audience, back to Nelson Mandela, the Honorable President of South Africa. May his soul rest in peace. He retired at the age of 81 after successfully placing South Africa to a very financiable and stable country. If, for example, Nelson Mandela was to retire at the age of 50, according to this motion, and someone who is 41 years old per se is put at his post, someone with lesser experience, could we be talking of South Africa like we do right now? For Nelson Mandela resigned at 81 after equally using his human resource to his full benefit. Secondly, according to the Section 20, Part 1 of the Acts of States, states that if you retire at 55, you get full benefits, unlike one person who has retired at 50. Fellow mathematicians, 55 minus 50, that is 5 whole years of gaining nothing. If I retire at 50, I will enjoy all the benefits. But if I retired at 55, I will enjoy full benefits. And if I was to retire at 50, I will have 5 years of nothing. Let's say I was employed as a teacher in a primary school that does not pay well. That teaching job was my only source of income. How will I survive for a whole 5 years without any benefit? Thirdly, if I retired at 50, according to the World Health Statistics, it is stated that the life expectancy in Kenya is approximately 63 years. So, if I retired at 50, again, mathematicians, 63 minus 50, that is 13 years of my living. What will I be doing for those 13 years after retirement? And therefore, my fellow proposes, if you want to be doing nothing for a whole 13 years of your living, then continue proposing this motion. But if you want to better your life till the time you say goodbye to the world, join me in opposing this motion. With that, I rest my case.
We'll hear rebuttals now, beginning with Precious Blood. You have 3 minutes.
I would like to first educate our fellow opponents. The current retirement age is not 55, but rather 65. The system we have at hand currently has a lot of flaws. We keep telling kids to go and get employed in Jua Kali industries, because from there they get their skills to get employed. Why then are they still unemployed? Other than that, she stated that in Zimbabwe, the retirement age was increased from 50 to 60. I'd like to make you aware that the president of Zimbabwe is Robert Mugabe, who has been in power ever since they got independence. Now, who can tell me what advantages his leadership has brought to Zimbabwe? Why is it then that they are still the poorest economy? What guarantee do you have that young people are inadequate for leadership? Between 50 and 65 is 13 years. And as my fellow proposer had said, these people who are going to retire are not being left jobless. They're, however, going to go back into the industries that they were in and partake in reskilling the youth to enable them to work better in making the sector better. People who have stayed in a sector for far too long become inefficient. The system in place currently undermines the young leadership. I would like to leave you with an analogy. I'm aware that a great number of you watch football. This is a very fantastic sport, but how many of the football players are above 50, 40? The retirement age is currently at 35. Why is it at that age? This is to enable the people. Those people who leave the sport are the same people who become the managers of the club, the same people who come back to become the coaches of the players. Why are we undermining youthful people, people who still have the capability to train? We're letting them go up to 65. At 65, if I leave my job, I'll go and sleep at home. Why would I go back into an industry and try to educate other people? At 50, I still have 13 years of youthfulness inside me to come back and train the younger generation. Thank you.
St. George's, we'll hear your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
30 years of youthfulness inside you. And you're going back to teach these people what you have already taught them before. My name is Esther Wangari from the St. George's Girls, and I'm here to oppose this motion. There are 6,920,000 unemployed Kenyans. Does this mean that there are 6,920,000 old Kenyans sitting on the jobs of these young Kenyans, I beg to differ. Let's stop playing the blame game, blaming it on the people who are there. The difference between 50 to 65 years, as my proposers have said, it's only 15 years, right? It's only a difference of 15 years. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that you'll have reduced somebody's experience by 15 years. A doctor, for example. I retired at 65, and I go back to teach. To teach those who are still in the university and want to become doctors, right? So I go teach them what I have already learned. Tell me, by the time they acquire the skills I have, and by the time if I was not to retire and acquire those same skills and even more, where will we be? There's a lot of discoveries to be made, and as much as young people have wild ideas, it takes experience. They say that wine gets better with age. And we can all confirm this, can't we? They say that people are being called back, the follow proposer. I remember Professor Lucy Kabwage. Dr. Professor, best of the best, Lucy Kabwage, was called back to lecture in the University of Nairobi in the Students' Business School. Why? Weren't there people who are searching for jobs? Where was she called back? Where are most of our teachers called back? Where are most of our counselors called back? Why? Have you ever asked yourself why? Not because the young people are inexperienced, but because knowledge does not beat wisdom. Knowledge is power, but wisdom is extreme power. 4 out of 10 leave the country to go looking for outside jobs. That means most of our youths are just money-minded. Money-minded. We need people who are thorough, people who are efficient. If you really love this country, you won't go to another country. Not because there are people who are sitting on your jobs, but because you are truly a citizen. Stop being money-minded, our youths. I'd like to start by saying that knowledge is power, like I just said. But wisdom is extreme power. And our judges know that. That's why, if you were told to retire right now, in 10 years' time, where will your family be?
Thank you to the audience for those questions. The proposers have been asked if they can prove that most of the brain drain that happens and most of the people who leave the country to go work outside do it because of poor remuneration. And the opposers have been asked, is it impossible for people over 50 or people who are not so young, is it not possible for them to bring development? Are the youth the only people who can bring this development? So we'll have them respond to those questions. Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
Greetings to all of you, and I will answer the question I was asked by asking you another question. You asked, can they all bring the same changes the youth will bring? Well, I'll ask you, why didn't they bring that same change you're asking in the 65 years they were given, my dear brothers and sisters? Furthermore, you said Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela lived in his own generation. In that generation, the youth were not encouraged. They were not considered of worth. They thought that the old could always lead. But in this generation that we are in, we believe we can. In this hall, I believe there is a president, I believe there is a cabinet secretary, and I will still believe that we can bring changes. I'll give you statistics. A research done by the Kenyan government through census indicates that 67% of the Kenyan population is made up of the youth. Furthermore, the United Nations further did a research under the International Youth Organization, which stated that 13.2% of the youth, as of April 2012, 13.2 were unemployed. But now, 40% are employed. 40%. Is that an increase or a decrease? Do we still have 65%? Yes. Do we still have 65 years people of age? We need to change. We need to change for sure. The youth are more creative and more energetic. I'll give you an institution that is youth-dominated and is successively progressing, the Safaricom institution. It is youth-dominated. The fact is, it has Blaze, it has Safaricom Youth Orchestra, and it has Be Your Own Boss. This same Safaricom makes billions of profits, leave alone the amount they make, my dear brothers and sisters. And do you still believe 65 years? 65 years? I don't think so. Well, these 50 years, the reduction from 65 to 50 years will cater for the new generation we are in. From small math that I know, if you're 65 years old, you were born around the generations of colonization, if I'm right, which I think I am. During the time of colonization, the problems we used to face, the challenges we had, the things we encountered, are they the same today? Are they? No. We are the ones who understand where the shoe pinches us. And we need to stand up and change the changes that we need to bring about. And this can only happen if we cater for ourselves. Your father said Dr. Lucy Kabwaga was called back. That is what my fellow proposer said. Why is she being called back? So that she can re-skill you, so that she can teach you what she learned over those years. Because we believe they have experience, we believe they have a foundation that they can give you. That is why she's being called back. She's not being called back because there are no other people who can do what she can do. There are others who can do, and they can do it better. Look at our judges. This is the great debaters contest. Are they 65 years? Look at our ushers. They are very young. They are very entertaining. They welcomed me. But trust me, if I had a judge who was 65 years old, I don't think I'll be here because there will be miscommunication. We don't belong to the same generation, ladies and gentlemen. So let's accept where we are. Thank you.
St. George's will hear your response to the audience. You have 3 minutes.
Lucy Kabwage is 68 years old. She's past 65. Do you know she's called back? Because old is gold. Because she knows. Because she's experienced. Because she has seen people grow and people fall. That is why she is back. To instill her experience to other people who need to learn whatever she's learned. Well, people, first I'll answer my question. If you go to another better institution abroad, as the person who asked the question had said, you're going there because you need knowledge, and that knowledge, you want to get it for you to get a good job. When you get a good job, get a lot of money. Is that not being money-minded? Well, in front of you is I, Kelsey Elam Zalwende from this St. George's Girls Secondary School, strongly opposing the motion that states retirement age should be lowered to 50 to curb unemployment. Well, according to the Daily Nation of 11th February 2017, 47% of employers have over 40 vacancies due to unqualified students from the university. Well, listen, people, these same universities is where we have sagas. In August 2016, we all saw what was happening in the University of Nairobi. A lot of drugs found in the hostels, and these are the same people who expect me as an employer to come employ at the end of the day. I need skill. I need discipline in my company. If I need the discipline and the skill, people, I will go for that person who's older, who's going to work and be disciplined and not bring me shame in my company. You say that the young people are more creative compared to the old people. The young people, yes, you say they're more creative, but the old are still living. They're seeing what is happening. They're seeing technological changes. They're seeing the world is changing. They have minds. They can see. They can think. If they can think and if they can see, I believe they can come up with the creativity that is required in our world today and be able to come up with better things to go on. You say that the youth are the more productive segment. Yes, they do not have to only engage in formal jobs. The first proposer said that our parents tell us that we should work hard for us to be able to get good jobs and all that. In this life, you don't only have to have a formal job for you to get to where you want to get to. Because according to the 2016 economic survey, I read it in the Daily Nation, 12th of February, it is written that the employment in the informal jobs has increased from 11.2% to 12.6%, meaning that you can be able to get a better job. But in the formal jobs, there's only increased by 9%. It has only increased to 9%, meaning that most of the people who have graduated from our universities will end up being jobless because it has doubled over the years. So if that has happened, what do you think is going to happen? Do you really think that you just thinking of getting a formal job and white-collar jobs the only reason? There's a lot of employment. You don't have to get a white-collar job for you to be able to survive. There's something known as informal jobs. So people, I'll leave you with one question to you, the judges. Do you want to retire at 50, and then what happens to your family? You planned to retire at 65, then someone tells you to retire at 50 one day. Is that going to disorganize your plans for your family at the end of the day? Thank you.
We'll hear closing statements, beginning with Precious Blood. You have a minute.
I will first do the favor of answering the question that was imposed to the judges. What will happen to their families? They'll be given pension fee. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to clarify something. When you retire, we don't mean you just go and rest at bed. Like I said before, 50 years, you've earned experience, you have the foundation. You can start private sector's businesses that will create employment, and you're helping your own country. Furthermore, I'll read these names. Amina Mohammed, the Cabinet Secretary of Foreign Affairs. James Moria, CEO of Centum. And internationally, we have Steve Jobs, who is the founder of Apple, and furthermore, Mark Zuckerberg, who is the owner of Facebook. Do you know at what age they invented this? They were very young. They were the youth at that time. And who doesn't use Facebook? Who doesn't have an Apple? Trust me, the population now is high. And I'll tell you one thing. Sometimes you don't need to depend on others. You need to say what you have in your mind. As the youth, we can change. And I believe, and I'll repeat this, we can do this together. Let's not wait for the elders to do this. Thank you.
St. George's, you also have a minute for your final submission.
According to the States Act, at Section 20, Part 1 of the States Act, it is stated that if you retire at 50, you do not get full benefits. But if you retire at 55 years and above, you get full benefits. What do you prefer, to retire at 50 and get nothing at the end of the day? Well, people, according to the Retirement Benefits Authority, it is clearly stated that if you retire at 65 years and above, you get 100% exemption from taxation. If you retire at a lesser age, you're going to get around 20% taxation. What do you want? To get 100% exemption from tax, or do you want to get taxed in your pension? Plus, let's not do the blame over here. It's about time that we man up and accept the fact that we also have problems going on in our country. For example, corruption. The NYS, it is there for you to be able to provide the youth with jobs and all that. But what happened? 791 million got lost just like that. The old are not the only people the old are not the only reason why we are facing unemployment in our country. Let's see the problem, and it's not only the old. Let's man up and accept the facts, because there are three sides to a story. Your side, my side, and the truth. And the painful truth in this side is not the old: corruption. Thank you.
Precious girls, I want to say that there are to Effie. Since the last time I saw you today, it was a great improvement. You are more engaging. You maintained your line of thought. You are very calm, and I appreciated that. To Somaya, you continue to be more passionate, more creative, and you try and even rebut when a question is asked from the other side. Lydia, thank you for the way you explained the motion, gave us facts, and that was good.
St. George's, your argument is retirement age should not be lowered to 50. Okay. One thing I'll say is, first of all, when you're quoting dailies, local dailies, I'll not mention the names of those dailies, it's important to know, is it an expert who wrote an article or it's just an opinion by someone? Because believe you me, I can be a contributor, but I'm not an expert in that field. So what you want to do is, before you can quote, you need to have proof that the person who wrote that article and had it published is an expert in that field. If you're talking about economics, must be an economist for that matter. Kerubo, the example of, I think, Nelson Mandela was a good one, because of what he has achieved, and he's an icon in Africa, and you can identify with Nelson Mandela because of what he has done. Esther, the same. I think good arguments that you raised, the same applies to Kesley. However, what I can say about the team is I expected a bit of watertight arguments. By watertight arguments, I mean arguments that can't be easily challenged by someone in the audience or by a critical mind that is listening to you. To the two teams, it was a fair presentation.
We'll go to the results now. St. George's Girls, the judges awarded you 67%. Please give them a warm round of applause. Precious Blood Riruta, the judges awarded you 74%, making you the winners of this debate.
Congratulations to Precious Blood, and my advice to St. George's Girls is waterfalls, but it keeps flowing. From all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, the Great Debaters Contest, please keep watching. I'm Austin Yambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar.
So what's your general view about the debate?
Well, I'll say it was a learning moment for me because I learned to take up challenges as they are.
This experience taught us teamwork, and more as we should consult more with each other before stepping on stage.
Okay.
But it is generally a fair debate.